What's up, everyone? And by everyone, I mean the one person that's here. Ugh. So what's that one meme? Rose from the Titanic. It's been 84 years. Tell you what, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Ugh. As far back as I have streamed. Why is that on? Let's figure this out. That's a little better. Great. Do I just turn this off? You never saw Titanic? What the fuck? You gotta get your shit together. Oh. Happy birthday for the next 39 minutes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reminder of my own mortality. Appreciate that. One day we'll all be dust. All right. It has been some time since I've done a D&D&Chill. But as was mentioned in the chat, today my birthday. So we're going live. We're gonna go live. We're gonna reclaim today. It's been a long one. Ever since I got back to work, my whole back's just been hurting. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, thank you so much for coming by. Appreciate the kind words. Always a pleasure to have you around here, Ryan. Ryan Doyle, Verdigris Table, popping in to say hey. By the way, I was going to mention this a little bit later, but is this a gift for yourself playing? Yeah, this is 100% a gift for myself. Totally. So it was it's been discussed over in the Kel's Corner Discord a few times, but the big honkin' D&D, hold on, I gotta move this window up out of my way. The big honkin' Lego D&D set that is just released. Here. Yeah, so this is now available. And I actually ordered this yesterday and cannot wait to get it. This is the official D&D Lego set, and it's on back order. I think I'll get it like mid to late April. So, but I'm okay with that. I get a free little flower trellis thing with it, so my wife gets a nice little gift. So yeah. In the meantime, though, we are building another red dragon. It's hard to see with the light. There we go. Yeah, look at that. We're building another red dragon. This little guy. So You can also make them into a bird, into a scarlet macaw, or into like a little fish. So figure while I wait for my big D&D set, this little guy will do. So yeah, here on my birthday, hang out with me and while I build this, and then talk about a little bit later something that I've been working on. I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse. Let's see if I can pull up the, nope, not that. Yeah, I didn't know if I actually put any of that stuff in there. Let me see. So, something that I'll be touching on a little bit later is this. My the March, or sorry, yeah, now that March's collection is done, the Whims of Luck and Fate, we're moving on to April, Showers of Life and Renewal. And our subclass for the month is going to be a wizard. And it's going to be the School of Life, also known as a Wellspring Wizard. I did a lot of work on this like early last week, and I haven't really touched much of it. But this month is going to be a little bit of an extra special one, because when I was actually building my Wizard School of Life subclass, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he made a comment that I was going through explaining like the different classes that I was making for where are you going to give a nod to it being your birthday? I don't know yet. Actually. There's a lot going on in April. Obviously we have April showers, we have April Fool's Days, we have Easter, we have Earth Day, and that's kind of going to be a lot of the big themes, is Earth Day and renewal and springtime. And that's kind of the design behind the Wizard of Life, and we'll touch on him a little bit later. I got this awesome art here for it, but the other one that I worked on, because again, this month is special. I was talking to my buddy, and he asked me if and when I was going to be making an artificer subclass. And I didn't know if I was. It's not one of the main 12, so, I didn't have it planned out, but he talked to me, and we came up with an idea for a Green Guardian subclass. This thing keeps pulling stuff from the previous version. Hold on. Let's update the last version. Let's see if that fixes it. Of course not. We got to go up here. We got to clear the cached images. And that will actually fix it. There you go. The Artificer Green Guardian. So we're actually going to have two subclasses for this month. a wizard, and an artificer. And honestly, I think it's pretty thematic that the two intelligence-based classes are the ones getting some extra stuff this month. Plus, I got some really cool artwork to go along with them. So we got some. I really like this one. I love Warforges. Obviously, you know, Cooper up there. Where's my hand disappear right there? Oh, it's slightly offset. But Cooper disappear up there. My artificer that I played. And this is just a very cool looking artificer. I absolutely love the combination of the earthen traits with the mechanical. And the cool thing about this is that it almost seems like they have wings of some kind, or some kind of like propulsion system that they could fly. So very curious. I mean, I like this character. The symbol on the chest very much looks like a monitor. The sun deity, which plays heavily into the theme of it. But yeah, I don't know which one I'm gonna go with yet, and I honestly might leave it up to the community. See which one you guys like a little more, the Warforge or the, like, I don't know, elf, half elf. He doesn't seem like elf enough. His face seems more like human. It's just the ears. Need a side-by-side. I'll post them over in the D&D&Chill. We'll put this, vote for the artwork for April's Artificer subclass. There you go. So those are now over on the Discord. If you want to see them side by side, if you want to see them side by side here, which one's which? There you go. Yeah, if you want to see them side by side here, there you go. Like I said, I'm honestly preferential to either. You know, like, this definitely looks like a half elf to me. But and elves are, you know, tied to the Feywild, and, you know, that's nature and stuff. But there is something about a warforged, like, druid, or a warforged ranger, something that is so mechanical, but having an innate tie to nature. It's very cool to me. But there's aspects of this elf that I like a lot, because without going into a ton of it, because again, I want to build my Lego here. The design, and the name's probably going to change, but the design of this spell, of this subclass, is that the artificer creates a device, a conduit, that allows them to harness the power of the sun. So this artificer uses renewable energy to fuel their spell slots, or to fuel their spells. And what this does is it allows you to cast, you know, an additional amount of spells per day, equal to, like, your, I put in here, it's a number of charges equal to half of your artificer level rounded up. And you can expend those charges to cast extra spells. So like at the end of your D&D, your character's career, you might have like, you're going to have 10, you know, and at like level 6, you're going to have 3 of these, and you could use that to cast 3 first level spells, or a second level spell and a first level spell, or a third level spell. I actually, off the top of my head, don't even know if a 6th level artificer is even able to cast a third level spell. I don't think they are. Nope. You got to be 9th level before you can cast a third level spell. So, but yeah, it's about being like a solar powered artificer, and that's why like this being the symbol of a monitor to me just fulfills that. I don't know. Maybe I can try and fiddle with ChatGPT to kick one out that has something like that there. I don't know. I have yet to continue working on it since I drafted them, but as I said, oh, that is a discussion for a little bit later. Right now, we're building some Lego. Maybe the elf can be a race and the Warforged can be the artificer. No, I did not meow. What the I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna meow. I'm gonna prance around here all nimbly bimbly. An elf race. Like an elf-like race? Oh, my eyes. Oh, I'll tell you what, this is a weird off-topic thing. So, you guys see me here on stream fairly often, at least once a week for the first 15. And recently I've been wearing my glasses. And I should be wearing them right now, but I'm not. But for the longest time, you see me without them. It's because I wear contacts. But the thing is, when you wear contacts, you can't rub your eyes, okay? It's kind of like if you ever see a woman who has like a weave or a wig, you know, they can't scratch their hair or their head. They have to like pat it so that they're not disturbing the hairs. When you're wearing contacts, you can't like rub your eye, or you'll like rub your contact out, or you'll get it like dislodged. But if you wear contacts like for extended periods of time and then you don't for a while, and you could like have the chance to rub your eyes, it is just otherworldly. All right. Let's build this. Let's build this SOB. And if at some point I have to run away, you might hear the sound of my baby squeaking and crying because I have the monitor on next to me. She should be all right. All right. Stay there. Okay, hold on. Yeah. I'm using what I normally use to prop my phone up for this book. Man, you guys. Oh, even. There you go. It's like the background's dark. The ship, you can at least see what's in my hand. Okay, and then this goes like that. Nice. Nice. The dragon gonna get a name? I don't know. Oh yeah, I did want to say, I was going to mention it before, if you, Ryan was in here, Ryan Doyle, if you get a chance, go check out the Verdegree YouTube channel, where he posts his content, and he just put out a video today, of all days, featuring yours truly on an episode of D20 Questions. So if you are curious about my responses to some of his questions, definitely check it out. Let's bring up some of the things in that video. Yeah, I mean, I am here at the moment. Might not be here. What? One moment. All right. Nope, 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 nope. No crying. No crying. Okay. Well, I'm back. As you can see, feeding a baby. This is why I haven't been streaming very much recently. One of those things where, like, think about streaming earlier in the day, but it's like, you know, other things going on. I want to stream at night. She's up every hour, practically. And if I get into something, then she starts crying. Or she wants fed or changed or something. So, yeah, if you're wondering where I've been with my streams recently, baby. But while I have her, Stacy, you said you had questions, or you're gonna bring some of the things up in that video. Feel free. Right now, I can't really do my Legos, so just kind of stuck. See if I can reposition her like whenever I play games. Come on, kid. No. Come on, quit playing around. Come on, Kiva. What are you... I was a little surprised when you said new DM should probably take 2 to 3 hours before a session to prep. Yep. I agree with wondering what God, I can't read. Wondering what that might look like. Okay, so wondering what those 2 to 3 hours might look like. Those 2 to 3 hours should look like, hold on real quick. Hey, that's a little better. Come on, kid. So, for newer DMs may need to take more focused time. That's basically it. It's... Sorry. So I mean, those 2 to 3 hours that new DMs should be taking to prep their sessions it should be focused around learning figuring out as much about what you're going to be running that session. Okay. If you're running, for example, a pre-made module or, you know, a pre-written campaign, you should, and let's say you're going through a dungeon, okay, or your players are going to be going to some encounter, read that encounter over and over. Make sure that you know it front to back. Make sure you know the monsters and the enemies and the NPCs that are involved in it. Make sure that you are aware of what those creatures can do in and out of combat. Make sure you understand the environment that it's going to be taking place. If you are using a VTT, get some maps together, prepare your encounter, okay? Figure out where your monsters are going to be placed. Reference, if you have access to it, reference a book like Keith Aumann's The Monsters Know What They're Doing to know what the monsters might do in that encounter. But then prep for the things that may come about from that. So, for example, let's say your players are going to a ball, and their goal for that night is that they've been hired by the local lord because they believe somebody's going to attempt an assassination against the, you know, against the lord, against the king, or whoever it may be. And your job is not only to protect them, to make sure that if there is an assassination that it doesn't go down, but to figure out who is behind it. So you might have a, you know, in that specific case, you might have a few things that you want to plug in there. Maybe you have an assassin for them to follow around. Maybe you have some pieces of paper with some like thieves' cant on it that the assassins are using. Maybe there's like a potion, a poison vial that can be found that the alchemist artificer knows where the chemicals were, can be found, and like they know the specific concoction. So have some, prep for things like that, but prepare for the inevitable successes and failures of those. Make sure you have an idea of, okay, so what if the players don't go to this place? What if they never engage with it? What if they try and they just stay around the Lord the whole night? Okay, and they're just going to play bodyguard. They figure there's no point in spreading around and like trying to track down the assassin, just stay next to the king the whole time. So, okay, so you kind of prepare for that. You let things happen in the crowd. You want to just familiarize yourself with all the different aspects that could go into that encounter and where they may lead from. So, for example, if the players do end up failing, maybe the Lord does get assassinated, have an idea, a couple notes, two or three major bullet points about what happens immediately after the Lord is assassinated. Make a couple bullet points for what happens immediately after an assassination attempt is made but foiled. Okay. And then maybe have some stuff where, like, if there are multiple failure points, like they don't find the empty poison vial, maybe they don't find the note, maybe they don't find, they're wearing a mask of, a hat of disguise or something like that. Maybe they don't find those. So write some failure points, but it's just about spending some time to know if things go the way you expect them to, great, but prepare for things not to go the way you expect them. and just try and come up with ideas. That's at least the way that I look at it. Now, other things are that if you are running a homebrew campaign and you're trying to figure out what you want them to be facing off against, or you don't know what you want to have them doing in the next session, spend those 2 or 3 hours, rolling on some random encounter tables, get some books of random characters or locations or items, and just roll some stuff and see what triggers, your ideas. Google encounters, Google D&D encounters and see what gives you an idea. And if you already have ideas, spend that time really fleshing things out. Again, especially if they're combat encounters, know what your characters can do, know what your players can do, know what your NPCs and your monsters can do, know what your environment is, get a good map. But just spend that time learning as much as you can, because in the future, what this is going to build into you is a skill set where you're going to know what these creatures do. You're going to be able to on the fly drop in an encounter with a handful of I don't know, flumps, or maybe gnolls or something like that. And then you'll know what you have to do with it, or you might be able to drop in a non-combat encounter and just sort of roll with it. How might it be different? Yeah, so, and that's it. With a more experienced DM, you don't have to, once you become more experienced, then you're able to just do things more on the fly. And that's really what it comes down to. And this is kind of the point that I made when I was talking to Ryan, is if I sat down, I've been running D&D now for almost 10 years. I could sit down at a table and with just a few prompts like jungle, temple, gnoll, I could come up with something. I could come up with an adventure, like a one-shot, where, okay, it takes place in a swamp, and there's a temple, and it's to the, and there's gnolls there. Well, why are there gnolls there? Okay, are they there to worship their god? Is it a temple of, who's their god? Was it like Ganeshu or something like that? I know their god's pretty badass. But it's like, I could, I might have to do like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of just like quick Googling to maybe figure out the hyper specifics. But I could go online and find a map real fast, be able to populate it, kind of judge based on, the players that are going to be sitting down at the table, what kind of encounters I need to throw in there. I have ideas for traps in mind, spike pits, arrow traps, poison darts, like holes in the ground that are disguised, and when you step over them, you fall knee deep, and now your speed is reduced by half for the next hour because you like bent your knee in half. How might a new TM not end up over prepping in those few hours? Or is it maybe better to be a little over prepared always really, kid, you were sleeping and now you're wide awake. No, let go of that cable. Yeah, one moment, folks. right, I'm back. All right. How might a new DM not end up over preparing in those few hours? Or is it maybe just a little, or maybe it's a little over prepped? So the thing is, I think it depends on what you're referring to as when it comes to the advice about not over preparing. I think what a lot of DMs out there try to preach is that you don't want to over prepare things that the players will never see. Okay. For example, if I was preparing a one shot where, let's say, you know, speaking of like jungle, temple, knoll, okay? If I was preparing a one shot where there was a temple to some god that was overtaken by gnolls out in the jungle, okay? Maybe a friendly group of lizard folk, maybe a group of gnolls ran them out of their temple to their god. Oh god, I can't even think of what their name is. Samoana. So maybe there's a group of lizard folk in a temple and a group of gnolls that worship Yunogu. That's the other god. Maybe they come along, they like kick them out, and they're starting to like perform their rituals and whatnot inside of this temple. Okay, and the lizard folk want you to come in and help. Okay, pretty simple. It's, you know, straightforward. What you don't need, what you should prepare for in that time is going to be like an NPC or two that the players are going to talk to in town. Anticipate that they're going to talk to at least one or two people. Maybe make these characters that have some information about the lizard or about the gnolls. But you don't need to come up with like the backstory for 6 or 7 of these lizard folk. You don't need to come up with the hierarchical structure of their entire tribe or chiefdom. You know, you don't need to come up with every single answer or every single bit of information, you know, before the players get there, because that stuff doesn't really matter. Now, if you want to make that information just because you find it interesting to like really craft out a lizard folk tribe and like, you know, their settlement and stuff like that, and like figure out the buildings and stuff that they might have, that's great. But more than likely your players are not going to care, and they're going to go in, they're going to find out what they have to do. They'll maybe want to know if there's a place that sells some general goods that maybe they can like supply up or grab something that will help them fight the, you know, the gnolls or whoever it is that they're going to fight. But beyond that, most players aren't going to care. They're going to want to get the action on the road. So I would, like I said, I would in that time prepare like 2 major NPCs, 2 major locations, like the chief's home and like a shack where they're maybe selling some like general supplies, or a map to the temple. Okay. And your players might even say like, hey, how do we get there? And you could even have like a guide lizard that's like, oh yeah, come with me. So that is in essence what I mean by like that there's things that you should care about preparing, and there's other things that just aren't really going to matter in the long run. Now, there comes a time where maybe down the line, if you're continuing that adventure and your players are starting to interact with, you know, those lizard folk more often, sure, maybe at that time it's, you know, it's appropriate to start fleshing out all those details. But prior to that, it's really not a point. How the fuck does that... Oh, I see. So, in these hours of prep, aiming to be looking at ahead, maybe a session or two, because I imagine prep for a new DM on a one-shot should not be... Is this hours of prep aiming to be looking ahead? No. I mean, unless you plan on like thinking ahead on stuff. I mean, if you're running a one shot, you shouldn't be thinking of like a session 2. You should be keeping everything fairly constrained and truncated. I'm not necessarily talking about like one shots. Because one shots are a little different. You know, a one shot, you in the most part should be able to prepare a one shot within an hour or two. I mean, those don't take long at all to prepare. You just read the thing and let that be that. Because one shots, especially if you're running something pre-made, you should just be able to sit down and run that. But like I'm really referring to stuff that's like gonna carry you on, because when you're running a campaign, you do want to think ahead a session or two. What are some options that you might have? Where are some locations where it's logical for your adventure to go to? You know, if you've given your players a handful of you know, hooks and stuff, try and figure out like what's the most logical place for them to go to in that amount of time, and based on that direction, what makes sense to prep. And honestly, it's different for everyone, because the reality for me is that every prep session is a little bit different. Every time that I sit down to prepare, it's not always the same. You know, sometimes I'm more focused on throwing together a character. Sometimes I'm more focused on finding a good map. Sometimes I'm more focused on reading about a bunch of different monsters. In all honesty, that's one of the big things for me, is like spending my prep time looking at different monsters that might be thematic to the setting. You know, I might spend, you know, 45 minutes to an hour alone just looking up different monsters based on their environments, or their type, like celestial or fey or fiend, just to get a feel for something that I want to throw at the party. You know, for example, in my recent private game, I threw some mean locks at my players. Up until that session, I had no clue what a mean lock even was. And it just so happened to be that me sitting down and spending like an hour or so reading through different Fae-based, monster lists, that I found it. And I was like, oh, this is a really cool concept, and, started playing with the ideas of it. But I guess what I'm really getting at is, if you are a new DM, you should be spending a few hours getting used to and familiar with the system as much as possible. Like, that's what I'm saying to like new DMs. Get familiar with the system. Know the stuff on the backside. Try and prepare that stuff as much as possible. And I mean that like monster stat blocks, environmental hazards, your traps, your like the stuff leading into the encounter, the things you want going on in the encounter, and the things that might follow up the encounter. And in truth, there's really no such thing as being over-prepared. You might have some details that you sat and you came up with that might not get used in the next session. But that doesn't mean that they might not, you can't just throw them in a session later. I mean, that's kind of like the one concept of what is it? I've talked about it before, where it's like your players want to go on an adventure. It's like, okay, where do you want to go? And it's like, oh well, as you're walking down the road, you see there's a mysterious mansion cloaked in fog and shadow, with a long ivy trimmed walkway leading up to it. And the players are like, nah, not really into that. Let's go on a high seas adventure. And so it's like, okay, you get in a boat, you sail to your first island. Well, what do we see? You see a mysterious mansion cloaked in fog and shadows, with a strange palm tree laden walkway leading up it. It's like, you can always reuse the stuff that you had prepared. It never really goes to waste. You just have to concede with the fact that there's gonna be times where you prepare something, and whether it's because your players aren't interested in whatever it may be, or maybe there could be something that causes your players to not need to do that thing anymore. That could pop up, and that could drive your players away from doing that thing. Yeah. So there's my answer to what did I mean when I said that newer DMs should take, you know, should actually spend time. They should spend more time prepping. It's more to do with the fact that, especially if you're new to the system, you should take the time to learn the system. Because if you've played D&D for a while, you know the ins and outs of the mechanics on the player side. But once you get behind that screen, there are some things that are just a little bit different that now you have to take into account. And you can use that time before the sessions to manage that. Also, another thing is, again, just read over whatever you're planning on running. Oh, that's one of those big things for me. It's like, I find myself so many times sitting down to run a session that I've already prepped. And like, I may have spent time throughout the week looking at stuff for it and getting things ready. And then I sit down, you know, an hour before or two, you know, like the night before, and I'll look at it and suddenly realize like there's changes that I can make. You know, there's like different things that I should be doing now that like maybe I changed my mind on stuff. I mean, I can't tell you how many times the night before a session I've completely changed the direction of a story. Hell, I've done it an hour or less before a session. Oh, but it seems to advise them to be a chance to learn that those 2 to 3 hours are developing a skill. Yes, that is very much it. It's using that time to prepare, is learning how to do it effectively. You know, because again, the more time you spend preparing, when you can take the time to sit down for 2 to 3 hours, especially when you're first learning to DM, when the time comes that you don't have 2 or 3 hours to prepare, you will be far better off. You know, you'll know how to handle things a lot better in those cases because you will have built those skills out. As in the sentence, new DM should prep for a couple hours. Yeah. Jesus. Scare the shit out of me, Hawketh. Thank you. So when are we gonna get a Count Chocula? I don't know. I do not know. I mean, eventually. Oh, I have some plans for that one shot. Halloween along with Frankenberry and Boo Berry, yeah. Not gonna lie, that would be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool characters to set up. A Frankenstein's monster. Oh wait, actually, that would be pretty cool. Make a Frankenstein's monster that's also like a plant-based creature. You know, like, because I mean, Frankenberry would be like a berry bush, so you could have somebody that like you'd have a monster that was like brought to life by a like an awakened plant, and it like there was a corpse in it, almost like a corpse flower. What a Saturday morning. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, they're where you can cast Detect Clams. I'll tell you what, that was a great suggestion. Gotta give Sarah credit for that one. That meme was good. Ooh. Tell you what, though, there's one part of that video that never made it to the public, because I know when he and I were filming it, we got onto a weird tangent. And he's like, I might cut this. It was nothing bad. Nothing bad. It was just super local. And there's a part of it that kind of lives on. And I'll tell you where the cut is. He did, yeah. So he said that he he did cut a section. But he said he was gonna cut the part about he made a comment about the part where I was making the premonitions, which I did end up making those. And I have them somewhere. I put on this, yeah. I have them in a document, but the thing is that he said he was going to cut that, and then he left it in, obviously, because we weren't cutting that. What he did cut out, though, was when I rolled the dice. So obviously, if you watch the video back, and we get into the questions section, you roll a die, you roll the d20, and you roll the d20, and you that he asks the question. And the thing was that when I rolled my first one, it was 7, and when I rolled my second one, it was 11. And so he goes 7-11, and I said, "Oh man, what a great shop!" And at that point, we got onto a fairly long tangent about who's better, Wawa or Sheetz. And it was just so funny, because every time that because he sent me the video after he cut it a few weeks ago, and I watched it back, and I heard my 7-11 comment, and I was like, oh man, like he cut it there. It was like, good. That thing was just us going on about like which side of the state has the better, gas station food. So that's the content people come for. Sheetz or Wawa. And if Aaron was here, Sheetz would be your answer. Well, that's the good answer. That's the right answer. See, I was there tonight because I always get their pints of tea, and it's like the one place that I can get Gallagher's lemon tea close to me. Otherwise, I have to go with the Pittsburgh staple Turner's, which if you've never had Turner's tea, it's absolutely phenomenal. Never encountered Wawa. I have. In fact, when I went out to Philadelphia for PAX Unplugged, I visited my first Wawa, and because the area that I was in is actually like the headquarters area for Wawa. So, was tons of fun. Tell you what, they have a good tuna sub. They got a really good tuna sub. I will at least give them that much. That I will concede, because Sheetz doesn't do tuna subs anymore. Ooh, which sucks. I've had Sheetz when I went through PA to Cleveland. Our bus driver took a scenic route. Oh, that's right. We talked about that. That's right. We talked about that. You took a hell of a sidewinder trip. I would love to go to PAX Unplugged this year. Again, I just don't know. I'm just grappling with the logistics of traveling with a baby and going out that far, or leaving the baby here and with a family member, just the wife and I going. I don't know yet. Every person from PA hears that and apologize for Allentown. I can feel that. I always apologize for my hometown. Got weird ass people here. We're right on the turnpike. So it means that if you're like traveling down the pike, you're more than likely gonna stop off where I live. Oh. Hey, look at that. Got a little dragon. What's up, Cleric 4675? Do you like my little dragon? I just made him here. And Cleric, I'm going to give you the opportunity to name this dragon. So you get a hell of a responsibility. What is this adorable little dragon's name? Block dragon. Fire rain. Nice. I dig it. I dig it. You know what? It's not often that I agree with Stacy, but I do agree that rain, spelled as in like the legacy. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, we gotta adjust his feet so he can actually stand up. There he goes. Turn him sideways so you guys can see him. All right. So his name will be. Oh wait, hold on. There it is. That's his name. Fire Rain. See, I can't wait to get the big 3,000, like 4,000 Lego piece, or, you know, set piece, because I'm naming that dragon in that set after the dragon that is in my Fanland 5 campaign, Pyre-Sight. Because it is a play on the word pyre and parasite. Now, where did I put those other ones? Here they are. Do I play on the Beyond app? I don't use the app, but I use the website. If Dritz were a werewolf, he could be the leader of the companions of the Howl. Oh my god. Smooth. Smooth. Part of me wants to build this one out of these pieces, because you can build 3 things with this. You can build a little fish, bird, or dragon. I am player Dapple a cleric. Those are words, but I'm not sure in that order. If Dritz were a truck driver, he could be the leader of the companions of the long haul. God damn it. So what does that mean, cleric? I am player Dapple a cleric. Those are some... There's some mighty fine words there you're using. What they all mean. Oh, okay, so you're playing a cleric named Dapple. Gotcha. If Dritz were a stand-up comedian, he'd be the leader of the companions of the lull. Terrible. Terrible. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, come on, get these Lego pieces apart. Alright, I gotta put them away. These pieces in this box. Oh, yeah. Ow. Dapple Blossom was the original name. My Fanland 5 character. Did you know you can make D&D things with toys? Yes? Question mark? You'll have to be more specific than that. Ooh. We're putting that down. I'm turning my desk camera off. If Dritz were a telemarketer, he'd be the leader of the companions of the call. You know, for people that don't know the Dritz mythos, this is probably like one of the dumbest ongoing puns. Oh my god. I saw a guy make a lot of thing for D&D. Well, pray tell, what thing do you mean? Oh, hey, look at that. My windows are all fucked up. All right. So it's time tonight to talk a little bit about some subclasses. Six-eyed monster, a troll, a wizard, a cleric, and a warrior. Interesting. A six-eyed monster? Do you mean like a beholder? Is that what you're referring to? Nice. Wait, what? They have Lego dice? I didn't know about this. I knew the Kintsugi one. I remember seeing I remember seeing this. This was posted somewhere else. All right. Let's go to one of my characters. Let's roll on the table, see what it is. Roll on the Master Roshi table, or the Master Roshi character sheet. Jesus. Just all kinds of stuff falling around with it. All right, let's just see a handful of 20s. Oh, there we go. Nice. So it looks like, oh, and there's a nat 1. That's cool. All right, so we got, looks like we got like some swords, a knife, a rapier. Got a 5 and a 6. We got a shield and a dagger. A staff. Is that the rod of 7 parts, or is that just a staff? So we got mana potion, healing potion, loot. Oh, there's an nat 1. Oh, I like that it's like a skeleton. Ooh, 19. That's not bad. Oh, a little tome. A little spell book. Come on, that's 20. Damn. Oh well. Yeah, we got one before. If I don't get it this time, no big deal. Oh well. I like that. I still have been using the whatchamacallit, the Red Dragon dice. What level is your character? You're level 1. Borowski. Cleric. I don't play characters. I am a forever DM. I have 152 characters. They are multiple levels, as you can see. You want to DM in your area? Do it, man. Do it. Just go out and run a game. Oh, thank you for the follow, buddy. Very much appreciate that. Yeah, I don't really play that often. Most of the time, my characters will actually get played when my friends play them. For example, Raina Ribbit here was actually made on stream one day, and she is going to be played in the Phandalin 5 campaign during a one-shot or two by one of my players, Hannah. So, Atros 5, he's actually an NPC in one of the games that I'm DMing. I have played Damsel, Rango, and Ardeth, but I got to play like a session or so with them. Yeah. This Captain Dunbaru, this was an NPC. Soul and Flick were actually made for friends of mine. Lanky. Yeah, Lanky Kong. He's a Bugbear Echo Knight fighter. Since bugbears... So the thing is that bugbears have the racial trait long-limbed, meaning that their reach for melee attacks is 5 feet longer. He carries a glaive, which has reach, meaning that his reach for that weapon is then extended 5 feet. So he can hit people from 15 feet away by swinging his glaive. He can then... I also gave him Polearm Master, the feat, so he can get opportunity attacks when creatures get within range of him. But he can also... He's an Echo Knight fighter, so he can create an echo of himself within 15 feet, thus allowing him to have a huge area of effect, because he's able to teleport between the spaces. So he's all set. Ooh, Martial Adept. Adding Martial Adept would be fun. I actually gave him Great Weapon Master, but you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. I forgot about that. That is a good call. Give him, what do we give him? Trip attack. Just let him swing around. Sweeping attack. No, there he goes. Yeah. Choose another creature within 5 feet of the original target and within your reach. Fuck yeah. Take the lucky feat. Everyone, that is the feat that you should take if you're ever just given one. It's like if you don't have a theme, go with the lucky trait. Go with the lucky feat. Yeah. Now, Lanky was one that I built for a one-shot. I never even got to play him. Who else we got? We got a bunch of other characters. We got Owen Ray Coleman, who's a card-throwing rogue. Monty Sanguine was based on whatchamacallit, Castlevania and Simon Belmont. Can you DM you in the Deep Beyond app? I can't find a game. Can you DM what? I'm not sure what that means. Can you DM you? Oh yes, Owen Ray Coleman is the Twisted Fate art, 100%. That's who I based the character on. I mean, you can DM games in. See, this is the thing. I don't use the app. I use the website. I don't like the app. So I couldn't even tell you if the app has the DMing side of things, because realistically, when you DM, you know, you're just I don't know. You know what? Let me find out. I still have the app on my phone. I just don't use it. It's updating resources. Cause yeah, like, I don't know. I guess not. Well, I guess you can. Yeah, I mean, you can see. I mean, I guess you can on the app. Here, hold on. Let me do something here. Don't have enough XP to host. No, that's not a thing. Let's see. Yeah, because here's the app on my side. And you can go down to campaigns and you can access all the same stuff. You can see the dice rolls that your players have done and see their character sheets. You can even go in and actually view the character sheets. So, I mean, I guess you can DM from there. I just don't know if I personally would, but I mean, if it's the only resource you have, do it. But my understanding is that you don't, on D&D Beyond, you can get a subscription. You can subscribe. Where's the thing? Yeah, here. Yeah, this is the only things that you can't do. But I think, yeah, even this, you don't need, you don't need to have a subscription for it. I think you could just start, like, you can have like I think you have like 3 campaigns or something like that, and up to 6 characters. The only thing that you can't do is you can't share your data to your other players if that's what you're doing. Now, like for myself, I have the master tier subscription, so I can have as many campaigns as I want, but I can only share my data to like so many groups. Like right now, I'm sharing my data to 5 groups, and I can't share it to anyone else. So, you know, that's just one of those things. Yeah, you can't share resources, yeah, unless you have a subscription. That I knew. Ooh, yeah, back to the red dragon dice. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna do my due diligence here real quick. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about Calendar's collection, because it's been a bit. So I have to open a game and see what I can do. Yeah, man, do it. I highly recommend just like reaching out to people that you know and seeing if people want to play. And if you can't find people to play in person, don't be afraid to go online. Like, you can go over to my Discord at kelfscorner.com, and we have a number of people in there that play different games. I don't know if anybody's looking for a player at the moment, but if you're looking to run a game, I'm sure you might find somebody, you might find a couple people over there willing to jump into a game just to give you an opportunity to DM. But there's plenty of other Discords that you can join. You know, off the top of my head, Ryan Doyle's Verdigris table has a ton of people in it. The official D&D Beyond or D&D Discord has a ton of people in it that are obviously playing. Yeah, that was it. My Discord is Kelf's Corner. So if you go to kelfscorner.com, there is a link there that will get you to my Discord. And like I said, there's a handful of people there. There's a number of people over there, you know, that play D&D and play Pathfinder and whatnot. But yeah, just like Hawketh even said, you can, what's up, Nerdy Sakura? Welcome to the fun festivities this evening. But yeah, you can even go over to the forums on D&D Beyond, and right here, looking for players and groups. So there is the link to that, just to make your life a little bit easier. Oh, and look at that. Cast 39 8 hours ago is a DM looking for 3 to 4 players. There you go. Oh, right there, buddy. 4 boys looking for a DM. Shit. Look at that. I just found you. I just found these. I want to like send a message to these 2 groups. Be like, hey, I think you're looking for each other. Oh, funny enough. But yeah, definitely check that out. Yep, and here was the other website I was going to recommend, because this is the one that that Bildo had actually talked to us about, startplaying.com, which has paid games. So if you want to get, you know, a good experience to something, there you go. Startplaying.games. You're too shy for that. See, I love joining random games. I've had some crazy games with that. Oh. But yeah, so I think it's time that we talk a little bit about oh, you know what? You know what I haven't touched on? I don't think I touched on this. Here, we'll yeah, you know what? This was something that I brought up earlier, and if you by chance caught the video that Ryan Doyle posted, check out his channel over on YouTube. We talked a little bit about it. Talked a little bit about it here, but over on oh no, we're gonna pause that sound. Over on his channel, I was lucky enough to be asked to be featured in one of his videos, where he asked me a couple questions, I gave him my responses to, and then we built a really cool fortune teller character. So it is something really cool that I got to do, and one of the things that we talked about while we were doing that was I was coming up with these very like dark, cryptic fortunes that had like dire consequences. So just as a preview, this is available. I don't know if I actually posted this yet over on my Patreon. Let me double check before I blow smoke out my ass. Nope, I didn't. So I'll be posting this tomorrow. I'll hold myself to that. So I initially too thought he wanted them for his. I thought he wanted them for a table in his compendium. He wanted me to make a table in mine. So because I remember he and I discussing that at the end of that recording session. But the we came up I came up with a D12 and a D20 list. The D20 list is very much just like your common run-of-the-mill, like straightforward fortunes. Where, you know, it's here, we'll roll a D20 here. 14. A small act of kindness will ripple out, creating waves of positivity. So you can kind of take that to mean, you know, whatever it is you might want to think, like, maybe you know, after you get that fortune, maybe your DM reads that to you, and you know, you went to get a fortune telling, so maybe you help somebody, like you try and do your best to help people around you, and like little acts of kindness, like little small things, but because of that, it like eventually evolves into, you know, you getting noticed by like the captain of the guard, and you know, them, you know, doing something for you. I'm not sure where I'd be going with this, but yeah, so like I said, the D20 list very much just like generic, run-of-the-mill fortunes. Whereas the D12 list, and I should probably put it in here, like explain how these work. I just didn't have a lot of space. The way that the D12 table works is that this is the fortune that is read out, and, you know, then this is the reality of what is going to happen. So this is going to be more for the DM to, like, really toy with the players, of, like, telling them maybe they have plans for them to be encountering a green dragon down the line, and they come across this fortune teller along the way, and one of the players gets their fortune told, and it's like, a refreshing change is on the horizon, bringing a new breath into your life. So the players might, like, go about, and it's like, oh, cool, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, like, poison breath from a green dragon reeks across the battlefield, cutting off their breath, you know, bringing a new breath to them. I don't know, some of these are so goofy. A beacon of light will guide you through the darkest night. You will be lured by a will-o-wisp or a deceptive light into a dangerous situation. So maybe a will-o-wisp makes you wander into a pit, like into a death trap or something like that. A windfall of wealth will soon come your way, bringing you golden riches. Windfall, obviously, a breeze knocks over something that, like, Rube Goldberg's down a chest that falls on you, crushing you. So yeah, just some fun little, you know, dire fortunes that you can either as a DM read to your players, or maybe as a player can read to an NPC and foretell their deadly future. We got a lot of cool things for March. The Whims of Luck and Fate, all kinds of cool stuff. We had the Cleric, the Luck Domain. We had the Leprechaun race, the Fortune Teller background, some really cool spells, 2 really cool feats, Serpent Slayer and the Opportunist, and some very, very fun magic items, and one that even comes, you get a boon should you have all of them. Shall be lurking as you try to solve your character plot holes. Well, share the character plot holes. I'd love to hear them. Oh, I want to use all the Black Cat feats. They're not feats, they're magic items. Oh, my ear. Oh. I do think that they are pretty good. I don't know if the rarities, though, are where they should be. Honestly, I think... I think the... I think one of them should be very rare. I think it should be the claws. But I haven't decided on that yet. I also kept thinking that the boon should also maybe turn you into a Displacer Beast, because that's also a Black Cat. But yeah. And then lastly, yeah, there's no official Leprechaun monster. Put my game out, Frozen Sick. I'm DM on the DM. Nice. Hell yeah, Cleric. Well, I wish you the best in finding players. Honestly, I wish I could play. Just don't have the time in my life. With a baby, full-time job, running 3 campaigns, 2 streams a week. I'm exhausted. The big plot hole that Naki has right now is that she's starting at level 5. She's a far traveler from my world. She's teleported to where the DM's world takes... Oh. Okay, sorry. To put me on par with the party, I was given 59 platinum. So 590 gold. And I need to figure out how my character actually obtained said coin. If I was level 1, I would only have 5 gold and a jewelry worth 10. You need to figure out a way. What's your character's backstory? Oh, wait, never mind. She's a far traveler. You know what it is? Here's what it is. Okay? Your character only... I've probably been in the world a few hours. Oh, so you were literally isekai'd. You're not like a far traveler from like, you know, oh, you're from Baldur's Gate or, you know, you're from Waterdeep. Fucking ice. I know what isekai'd means. I've watched enough animes to know what isekai'd is. Speaking of which, Shield Hero, probably one of my favorites. Or that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Okay. So you were teleported there. You were isekai'd in, and you suddenly have you're teleported in and you suddenly have 59 platinum. I mean, let's be real here. You could just... I mean, you could literally just say, I had, like... you could literally just say, like, I had X amount of money on me, and it was suddenly changed. It was magically changed into these platinum coins. Fuck it, the isekai truck. Yeah, it's always a truck. It's always a truck just coming out of nowhere. I mean, that's... I mean, is your character... Is Naki coming from, like, an IRL world into a fantasy world? Is that what the case is? Or was she coming from, like, one fantasy world... semi-fantasy, semi-real? Yeah, I mean... Mara is the world. Battle Cats? I googled it and Battle Cats was the second thing that came up. That's also a character in One Piece, apparently. Interesting. I Google, like, go and Google it. Battle Cats comes up. Sanada Yuki Mara is an uber rare cat. That looks sick. Give it that. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's just, yeah, I had X amount of monies on me. It's like you could be like, I had 70, I had, 59 florins, and suddenly they're now these platinums, or I mean whatever. I mean technically, what, gold coins are technically called dragons in Faerun. I can't even remember what the others are called. As of 1489. Where's the one? Where's, no. Here we go. Yeah, see, the one that I'm so used to is the Silvery Moon. It's the Silvery Moon coinage that I'm used to. Danters. Okay, so here I'm gonna pull this up. So Danters is the name of it in In Kalimshan, a gold piece is a Basenta. But the one that I'm used to is Silvery Moon, where it's a dragon. Because these are the ones that I'm more familiar with. Oh, here we go. Waterdeep coinage. No, these are the ones. Yeah, Sun's Dragon Shards Nibs. Yeah, that's a platinum coin. And then the standard gold coin. Yeah. Nobody uses Electrum. If I ever saw someone walk into my group with an Electrum, I'd smack their hand. Oh, I want to use Electrum so bad. No, we don't. It's a quarter. It's like, and then this is the thing. It's like, it's come in and out of, I don't use it. I can't bring myself to use them. What's up, Ms. Roy? How you doing? Talking about the different coinage across the realms. Ooh. The soul coins from Baldur's Gate. Damn ads. Fuck, man, Cleric's just throwing around the money. At 200 gold to your rogue. Oofa. Oh, man. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. Ba-bum. The Electrum friends. The only friends you need. Nope, nope, nope. Don't. What the hell are you doing? Here, to make things a little easier for you. Cleric. I just added a, there you go. There's an invite to the Discord. I added a new channel in there under the tavern grouping called Looking for Game. If you want, you can head over there and advertise that you are trying to get players for a game. If there are folks that that might want to join you. But I think it's about time that I go over my subclass for this month, or maybe both. So this month, obviously we just talked a little bit about it. Last month for March was the Whims of Luck and Fate. This month, gotta find the right image, not that one. Is it this one? Yes. So this month we are going to be doing April. Why is that not working? Hold on. I know how to make it work. Put it over there. Bada bing. There we go. This month for April, our theme is going to be showers of life and renewal. Bask in the rains of growth and rebirth in the world's reawakening. So April's homebrew collection is going to be spring themed. It's going to be about life and renewal and rebirth and bringing the world into balance. One of the things about April is that April is the month where, you know, it's April showers bring May flowers. It's where things are starting to come alive. It's where the world is refreshing after winter and things are coming anew. It also happens to be the month that Easter is in, which is a holiday of birth and life. But it also happens to be a month where there are 2 green days in it. April 20th, obviously 420, blaze it. But also, Earth Day is, I believe, April 22nd. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, April 22nd. So the theme for April's homebrew creations that we're going to have over in the Discord, and that we're going to be talking about here in the streams, is going to be about the world renewing itself, the rains and how they kind of clear and wash things away, where we can grow and renew ourselves, how the world is coming into a time of rebalance. and reawakening. And I gotta say, I had to go through a couple iterations on this art, but this was the original D20 that it gave me, and I absolutely loved this art. There was another one that, because I've talked about this plenty of times before, but I get pretty much all of my shit. I pretty much get all of my art from ChatGPT, and the art for this one was something else. I gotta see if I can find the, oh yeah, here it is. This was the other one. I thought this one looked really cool. I just couldn't, I couldn't work with the shape of the D20, but it was definitely more green than I expected it to be. But I love the look of this die, and you know, obviously this one looks more like water, so, but like I loved how like the grass was coming up over it, and it seems like something that you would find like in a grove somewhere. You know, it's so cool. Yeah, the ChatGPT test. The fact that it has like 2 random artifacts, like right here, these 2 V's, just, I didn't know what to make of that. But I tried using another AI program to like remove everything that I could, because, you know, I did this one by hand. I think I got it okay, but yeah, just having to remove like some of the original lettering, because there was lettering up there. But yeah, absolutely love the art for this one. On top of that, we have the art for the wizard that we are going to be looking at here. So this is the art for the Wellspring Wizard. So also known as Wizards of the School of Life. Also known as Wellspring Wizards, members of the School of Life are the embodiment of vitality and rejuvenation. They are scholars who have delved deeply into the mysteries of life itself, learning to harness its energies to heal wounds, cure ailments, and invigorate their allies. As masters of life magic, they are revered as saviors in times of plague and war. Their presence is a beacon of hope against the vile. Their deep understanding of life's ebb and flow allows them to manipulate its forces with unparalleled grace, making them indispensable for any adventuring party. Thanks. I posted on your Discord in 3 places. Bro, I'm looking at my Discord. You are not in there yet. I'm overly concerned about where you are posting. Unless my Discord just isn't updating for me. Yeah. I don't know where you're at, man. But can I will let me see here. Where'd that go to? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Did not mean to click that button. Yeah, where was that? Where was that link? There it is. That's what I mean. I don't know where you posted that to, but try that link again. Click that link and see where it gets you to. It should get you to Kelf's Corner. Because right now I'm not seeing you over there. There you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There you are. Like I said, on the over in the tavern section, there's the looking for game, so feel free to post over there. All right, yeah. So the main idea for this wizard is obviously in regards to growth and rebirth. I wanted one of the things that wizards lack, and I don't think it's you know, not for its merits. There's not really a an official healing subclass when it comes to wizards. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of healing magic is divine magic. And the closest things that there are for it is going to be like abjuration, where you are more protecting creatures from different things, where you're able to shield them and give them, you know, extra hit points, or where like their hit point maximum increases, you know. But I wanted to give them something where it was more direct healing. So kind of similar to when I made the Living Spellweaver, which was a combination of evocation and conjuration magic. This is a sub-school of magic for wizards that is about evocation and abjuration, since abjuration is the art of shielding and protecting, and evocation is about creating energy, and is also the healing school of magic. That is what this subclass is designed for. So they get an expanded spell list, which I know most clerics don't get an expanded spell list because they already have the biggest spell list. But this gives them access to those more prominent healing spells: Cure Wounds, Healing Word, Aid in Lesser Restoration, Aura of Vitality, Mass Healing Word, Aura of Life, Death Ward, Greater Restoration, and Mass Cure Wounds. So some of the better, you know, 1st to 5th level spells they are getting access to. They can add them to their spell book as they wish. And that's just kind of really the start of it. So the Life Savant, much like all other wizards, they have the Savant ability. So this one, though, is very similar to the Living Spellcraft, the Living Spellweaver, because when you do the time that it takes to copy a healing, evocation, or an abjuration spell is reduced by a quarter. So normally an abjuration wizard, the time spent to copy an abjuration spell and the gold spent is halved. Because you're getting, you know, evocation and abjuration, it's quartered. So there's a little more math to do, but you're getting a bigger selection. And this should just be evocation. I don't know why it's healing evocation. It should just be evocation. Also, at second level, you get the ability Healing Touch. You gain the ability to heal others with a touch. As an action, you touch a creature and restore a number of hit points equal to your intelligence modifier plus your wizard level. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So very simply, getting some immediate healing out there, starting at second level. At that point, you're probably going to have a 4 in your intelligence, and you're going to be level 2. So, you know, just bam, 6 points of healing, which if you do the math, that's about an average kind of healing potion, 2d4 plus 2, where you kind of take the averages on those. It's around what you would get with a healing potion. So you can do that, a couple times a day. Already at that point, you get 2 of those just for free. On top of that, you're going to have your other healing spells, but you're probably, this subclass is definitely going to be more of a support style player. This is going to be somebody who's not really like mainlining front combat. It's going to be more similar to the Abjuration Wizard. Starting at 6th level, you get protective wards. You can use your magic to create protective wards around yourself and your allies. As a reaction, when you or a creature within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can grant that creature a number of temporary hit points equal to your intelligence modifier plus half of your wizard level rounded up. You can use this a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. That should also be proficiency modifier. Got to change that. And regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So not only is the second level what you're getting with the just, hey, like you need healing, I can heal you, hold on, give me a moment, bam, here's some healing. Now within 30 feet, hey, guess what? You got hit by an attack. Here's some temporary hit points. Okay. Intelligence modifier plus half your level. So your half your level is going to start out at 3 there. Your intelligence modifier at 6th level should be 4 or 5. So you are giving somebody 7 to 8 temporary hit points a few times based on your reaction. What does a healer at level 1 get? Well, to use the word healer is ambiguous, but I believe you mean a life cleric. So a life cleric is at level 1 going to get access to these main abilities here on the right. So you are going to get access to these spells, which, is great because these are just the healing spells, but clerics, they work very differently than wizards. Clerics know all of their spells and they prepare a certain amount of them per day. But with these spells on the cleric list, you have these prepared every day regardless. The wizard just gets access to these ones. So there is a little bit of a difference. But as a life cleric, anytime you cast a spell of 1st level or higher that restores hit points, that creature regains additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. So if you cast Cure Wounds on a creature, that normally does 1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. So let's roll the d8 here. We got a 6. So figuring at 1st level, your wisdom might be a 3 or a 4. That's going to be 10 hit points that they restore. As a life cleric, you are going to get an additional 3 because you're casting Cure Wounds at 1st level plus the 2. So you're going to heal them for 13 in that case. Now, the difference here is that something like the healing touch over here, versus these abilities is that this is burning through your spell slots. This wizard just gets the ability to do this, much like a paladin has their lay on hands ability, where they have a pool of healing power that is equal to their level times 5. And as an action, they can heal a creature up to a number of hit points equal to the maximum of your pool. Or, for example, a celestial warlock, if I'm not mistaken. Also, yes, a celestial warlock also gets a pool of healing, which is a number of d6 equal to 1 plus your level. And so you're able to roll a number of them up to your charisma modifier to heal creatures. So different classes and subclasses get the ability to heal in different ways. A cleric specifically is mainly going to be using their spell slots for the most part, versus like a class feature or like a subclass feature. Yeah, I'll say, actually, here it is. At second level, the change up there is that you get your channel divinity, which is like a twice a day kind of thing, where you present your holy symbol and you can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your level. So, and you can do that up to a number of creatures. Like, you can divide that up however you like, but that you can only do twice a day. All right, so can we bring back a dead player? Yes. I mean, if you're talking about rules as written, there's the 2 spells of, well, I mean, I guess 3 spells. You have Raise Dead. Well, hold on. No, I guess I always forget about this one. So 3rd level necromancy spell, Revivify. The creature has to be dead no longer than a minute, and it requires a diamond worth 300 gold. If they've been dead longer than a minute, but less than 10 days, you can cast Raise Dead on them. If they've been dead longer than 10 days, but no more than a century, you can cast Resurrection on them. And as long as they've died no more than 200 years, you can cast True Resurrection on them. This one even provides a new body if the new one doesn't exist, whereas the others don't do that. But yes, there are a number of spells that you can use to bring back a dead player. Well, let me rephrase that. To bring back a dead character. I don't know what you do if one of your players dies, but if one of the players' characters dies, you can cast a spell. I mean, I guess you can go talk to a voodoo witch doctor if one of your players dies. Yeah, so at 10th level, for the School of Life, you gain the ability to infuse life into your spells. When you cast a spell that restores hit points or grants temporary hit points, you can choose one creature affected by the spell. This creature gains additional hit points or temporary hit points equal to half of your wizard level and gains advantage on its next saving throw against a condition. So with this one, the design of this was about giving the wizard an ability that allowed them to bolster their allies. If, for example, there was a player who was maybe poisoned or was stunned or something like that, and they wanted, instead of just maybe casting lesser restoration and burning through that spell, they wanted to give them some healing. This is where that is coming in. This is going to be more of a defensive ability, something that is, you know, trying to really bolster their allies and keep them going. And then lastly, at 14th level, Master of Restoration. When you cast a wizard spell of 1st through 5th level that restores hit points, you can choose to either heal the maximum amount of hit points with that spell, or to remove one condition along with the normal healing. So what that means is, let's say, for example, you are casting, let's say that you're casting Mass Healing Word. Okay, so Mass Healing Word is a 3rd level spell, or, well, actually, Mass Cure Wounds. So Mass Cure Wounds is a 5th level spell that heals 3d8 plus your spell casting ability modifier. At 14th level, you're gonna have a plus. You're probably gonna have a +5. You're probably gonna have a 5 to your intelligence. So you could either heal for 3d8 plus 5 and also remove a condition to one creature, or you can just choose to heal for the maximum of 3d8. So you can just give somebody 24 plus your intelligence modifier. Plus, at this level, you can also cast the heal spell once per long rest. Now, the thing is, heal does not apply to the Master of Restoration ability because it's a 6th level spell, but heal does allow you to heal 70 hit points and ending blindness and deafness and any disease. So it kind of does a lot of work. But that is the basic design so far of the Wellspring Wizards. Also known, or yeah, the Wizards of the School of Life, also known as Wellspring Wizards. I had a lot of fun putting this one together. I'm not gonna lie, I actually found a really cool document that gave guidance on how to build subclasses. So I'm actually taking a lot of that. Oh, you're bad. You lost power on your phone. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, welcome back. So I'm actually using that guide to really give me like a lot of insight into building subclasses, because before I just would like sit and study a bunch of the subclasses and like try and steal stuff. Now I'm still doing that, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a cleaner hang on how the design should work. And then up next, what I have yet to decide the image on. Well, it looks like I got some people already upvoting. This one is not fully done, so if there's anything in here that sounds off, it's understandable. I only recently started putting this one together. But the idea behind this artificer, my buddy and I were talking, and we kind of had the idea of it would be really cool to have a solar-powered artificer who is able to gather energy from the sun or like a renewable resource in order to power their spells. So right now they're called Green Guardians, and I might change that later on if I want to really go like Solar Fire Radiant. But right now they're kind of like overall green, like Eco Warrior. Green Guardian Artificers are the vanguards of nature, harnessing the power of the sun to protect and rejuvenate the environment. With their solar conduits aglow, they stand as a bulwark against the pollution and toxins, ensuring that life thrives in even the most desolate places. Their inventions are a testament to the harmonious balance between technology and the natural world, a beacon of hope in the battle for a cleaner, greener future. Now, obviously in D&D, there's not a lot of places that are like city industrialized, blah, 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 like here in the real world where we deal with stuff like this. But in Eberron, that might be a little bit of a different twist. Or in the campaign setting that this might be in, you could have a campaign where there's like big coal, like, you know, chopping down the forest kind of stuff, you know, where you want like an eco warrior fighting for the forest, fighting for the green. And that's kind of the idea that I wanted to roll with here. So with this artificer at 3rd level, you get the total proficiency of an herbalism kit. And if you already have this, you gain proficiency in another type of artisan tool. Green Guardian spells. These count as artificer spells for you. These are always prepared. So at 3rd level, detect poison and disease, as well as earth tremor. 5th level, bark skin and Maximilian's earthen grasp. 9th level, daylight and erupting earth. 13th level, aura of purity and guardian of nature. And 17th level, commune with nature and dawn. At 3rd level, you construct a device that harnesses solar energy to power your spells. This device can be a staff, a wand, or a tool of your choice. The solar conduit has a number of charges equal to half of your artificer level rounded up. When you cast an artificer spell of 1st level or higher, you can choose to draw power from the solar conduit instead, expending a number of charges equal to the spell level. The solar conduit regains all expended charges at dawn. If you expend the last charge, roll a d20. On a 1, the conduit breaks down and must be placed in direct sunlight for 1 hour to recharge. At 5th level, your solar conduit is able to unleash more of the solar energy stored within. Whenever you cast a damaging spell using your conduit as a spellcasting focus, you can choose for your spell to deal an additional 1d8 fire or radiant damage. So here's the thing. You can use your solar conduit as a spellcasting focus all the time. So it can be the staff, a wand, a tool, whatever it is, that is your spellcasting focus. Regardless if you are using it to expend charges, once you hit 5th level, if you're casting a damaging spell, you can deal an extra fire or radiant, that extra 1d8, because it's your solar conduit kind of like overcharging your spells, even when you're not like drawing power from it. So obviously what you're seeing here is very much like solar powered, and like this is part of where I'm struggling with this subclass, because when you look at these spells, it's more about earth. It's more about like literally earth. I mean, earth tremor, earthen grasp, erupting earth, you know, guardian of nature, commune with nature. And then we go solar conduit, which to me is more like fire and radiance. Then we go to air. So we go earth, fire, wind, purifying presence. At 9th level, your solar conduit now has a purifying aura that extends 10 feet around it. You and allies within the aura have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned and have resistance to poison damage. Additionally, as an action, you can activate the solar conduit to purify the air within 30 feet of you. For the next minute, Creatures within the aura are immune to gaseous and cloud-based spells and effects, such as the Stinking Cloud spell or a green dragon's poison breath. Creatures within the area can breathe freely, even if they are underwater or in a vacuum, and you can use this once per long rest. Who we got here? Fat Cheesy Pants. Welcome, Fat Cheesy Pants. I too have fat cheesy pants. Hi there, I'm building homebrew for my very first time being a DM. I understand I should run a module first, but to me, it's honestly more confusing. I get that, bro. I ran my first 3 campaigns were all homebrew before I started running modules. I get it. I totally get it. The game will slowly fall into interactions with Yugoloths. Interesting. Okay. I'm curious. Okay. Well, hold on, I gotta look something up real quick. If I'm not mistaken. That's what I thought. Any opinions, thoughts, or advice? It would be like the last 10% of the game, but they would definitely confront the General of Gehenna. So you're going Greyhawk. Okay. Damn. Oh my God. Well, what is the main structure of the campaign? Because like I'm running a campaign right now called the Phandalin 5 that you can see on this channel, but and they are fighting against the cult of Tiamat, but they are interacting very closely with a Yugoloth because they're interacting with Charon, the ferryman of the dead, who is a Yugoloth. He's an Ultraloth, but he's a Yugoloth. And I kind of just play him as like a semi all-powerful being that is the patron of kind of 2 of my players. But I'm not sure what you mean by like it's the last 10% of the game. Oh, it's just the last 10% of the game they confront the General of Gehenna. Well, I would need to know more about the place called the Sea of Sorrows, where once a year, for a month, people delve into SOS. The campaign would be called Contractually Obligated. Nice. Oh, where people delve into the Sea of Sorrows as an event. Okay. So what is taking place there? Like, what's the main structure of the campaign? Like, is it like player versus world? Is it player versus God? Is it player versus man, like one person that they're going against? Is it player versus environment where they have to like survive? You know, there's not like one major bad guy. They just have to like survive to see through to the end of something. You know, what's up, Pokey Niner? Glad to see you around. You know what? I don't hate that suggestion of doing chlorophyll. I was gonna ask what you created so far with this artificer. I didn't create much. Thank you, Fat Cheese Pants. Very kind of you. Come on, reload. I would say open world, tracking down on person, uncovering more about the overall hierarchy. The two main antagonists are an Arcanoloth and a Yugoloth trying to be promoted to an Ultraloth. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. Like, the truth of the matter is running homebrew campaigns the first time around is a good learning experience. Like, you don't, if you're running a module, you're more likely to get yourself trapped into sticking to how that module is designed rather than allowing yourself to explore beyond its boundaries. Because it's kind of like bowling with the lanes up, like, you know, where you can get those bars up, where it's like you're more comfortable with that because you can just keep reading from the book. You don't really have to improvise a lot. But if you're running your own campaign, it forces you to really take the time to understand what you're writing, and to be more, you know, in the loop with what you're creating. Like I said, the first 3 campaigns that I ran were full homebrew campaigns. The one was based on a book series I read as a kid, so I used a lot of that as inspiration. But the second one that I ran was just completely homebrew, and I learned a lot of good lessons with that. I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned a lot of really good lessons, and I also learned a lot about lore in that campaign because I wanted to expand it so far, and then realized, like, it's good that I'm learning this stuff, but my players aren't going to see half of it, but I could use that in the future for anything else I needed. So yeah, I definitely give you credit for wanting to do your own homebrew campaign the first time around. I wish you the best. I would love to hear more about it. So definitely feel free to stop by when we do more of these D&D and chill streams. Also, if you want to head over to kelscorner.com, you can join the Discord and let me know more over there. That is, I'd love to hear more about it. So thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. All right. You know what? No, I don't mind this. I'm going to have to add like a different level of descriptor, but I kind of like the idea of it being chlorophyll, a chlorophyll conduit. I just replaced the word solar with whatchamacallit. Chlorophyll, which I don't know if that's gonna jive, but you know what? I'm probably gonna mess with it later. I might have to like rewrite this description, but no, that sounds like a cool idea. Because it does kind of keep it more plant-based. I don't know. There is still a part of me that's like, it's like I kind of want it to be. There's like a part of me that still wants it to be very much like solar powered. And the only reason for that is because of the joke, the meme that my friends and I were talking about when I was creating this. Because the thing is that, so to round it off, I keep putting in that defensive invention. We know that's what it is. So one of the things, the last ability, when you reach, I forgot to put what level you are when you get that. It's 14th? No, it's 15th. Oops, my bad. So yeah, the last ability at 15th level, you and your allies within 30 feet of the solar conduit gain resistance to acid, fire, and radiant damage. And when you are an ally within the aura take poison damage, you can use your reaction to neutralize the toxin, preventing the damage and any additional effects from the poison. Additionally, the fire and radiant damage bonus from your enhanced solar conduit feature increases to 2d8. Here's the reason why I kind of want to keep it solar, like more the sun and like not so much plant related, is because of this. The spells are earth based. The first two abilities are fire based. The 9th level ability is wind based. And Guardian of Nature allows you to neutralize poisons, which are liquids, which are waters. So what does that mean? That means that this subclass is broken down between earth, fire, wind, and water. All you need is one more, and that's heart. And then you have the one, the only Captain Planet. Cue the music. And that was the meme. That was the whole meme about this artificer. Was it's just a Captain Planet subclass where the whole thing is that it's like each one of them is building up to being, you know, something. Because Guardian of Nature used to be initially. I had the where's my Wellspring Wizard? Initially, I had a similar ability to the Wellspring Wizard, where when you had a creature that you were healing, that you could heal them for maximum hit points, and it was going to be like your solar conduit is now able to condense the air around it into a healing liquid that you're able to heal your allies with within 30 feet of yourself, and you're able to use a charge, or you're able to use charges to restore hit points, and you can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times the charge. I didn't do that though, but I went more defensive. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Those are the first looks at the April subclasses that we're going to be working on for April Showers of Life and Renewal. But I think that's going to be it for me tonight. I really have to go to the bathroom. It's also 20 to 3, and I can kind of hear my baby over there, like, wiggling and making some noises, so she's probably going to be up in a little bit. So thanks for joining me, everybody. We had a lot of great people in here tonight, a lot of people chatting and talking, and I love that. Join me tomorrow for the next episode of the First 15, where we'll be playing some really great games. What do we got on the docket for tomorrow? I can just switch over to the arcade. Bam, that's right. Tomorrow we'll be playing Firewatch, Homestead Arcana, and Cocoon. So, thanks again for joining me. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye, y'all.